Welcome to Deep Luxury. In today's episode, we'll be breaking down bit by bit of how much it actually costs to have your very own private island. Given the obvious benefits of privacy and, of course, white powder-like sand beaches, did you know that you can also make money out of owning one? Sounds like the ultimate dream to us. So let's get started. First things first, buying the island itself is the first major cost when owning a private island. You may have ideas about cabanas in the white sand and even a golf course on the island, but selecting the ideal site to lay the groundwork should come first. Therefore, the price of your island varies greatly depending on where you purchase. For instance, Canada has the greatest number of private islands up for sale globally. Islands can be purchased for less than $200,000, and if you really want to be frugal, you can even buy one for less than $100,000. An example of this is a 6-acre island called Half Island in Nova Scotia. It sells for about $65,000, less than half the price of a typical home, and is located less than a mile from the mainland. But there's a catch to that fee. Yeah, $65,000 is a terrific price for a private island. Well, at least during the summer, because Half Island's wintertime temperatures can dip as low as negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Only in the summer is it possible to live on this island, and even then, acquiring supplies can be very difficult. When you picture a private island, more often than not, you don't visualize a chilly, isolated place. You imagine a place with white sandy beaches and palm trees, while walking around in just your flip-flops. Much like the Caribbean, composed of countless islands, each with hills, wide beaches, and lovely oceans. A gorgeous site to create the quintessential tropical retreat. There are several islands to choose from. Surprisingly, neither the prices nor their magnitude are too overwhelming, which is subjective, of course. For between $1 and $3 million, you can purchase an island if you're content with a smaller, more isolated parcel of land. However, if you prefer a much larger one, or one that's located at a more attractive spot, it will cost you roughly $30 to $100 million. The more popular island chains are the Abacos Islands, Exuma's Islands, and the Berry Islands. These island chains are convenient for owners and visitors since they're much closer to larger cities. Consider Spectabilis Island in the Exumas as an example. The island's 460 acres contain numerous white sand beaches, gorgeous mountaintop vistas, and a lot of available property for construction. And it's only 60 miles from the capital and 230 miles from Miami. Although it can be expensive for some, it's also very convenient and has the extra benefit of claiming bragging rights about owning an island in the Exumas. Then there are the more isolated parts of the Caribbean, such as the 700-acre Little Ragged Island, which is marketed for $35 million. In comparison to Spectabilis, you receive nearly twice as much land and some additional perks. Little Ragged Island has 2 ponds, giving you access to fresh water. It also has 5.6 miles of shoreline, which you can have all to yourself, because the 110-mile-long island chain is incredibly underdeveloped, with a tiny town of only 72 residents. But if you're a social butterfly who likes dining at fancy restaurants or hitting up local nightclub with lots of people, then you might want to think twice before purchasing this island. The islands we've looked at so far have something in common. They're all underdeveloped. That might not seem like a huge deal at first. Building a home on a private island shouldn't be difficult if you have the funds to purchase one, right? Well, that's not exactly the case. Because purchasing a private island entails more than just purchasing land to construct a home on. No, there's so much more to it. To begin with, you must be certain whether construction is even permitted on the island. Because the region's ecosystem is so weak, countries like the Caribbean have very tight environmental laws on construction. Before you make any alterations to the island you purchase there, you must first conduct an environmental impact study. And this study comes at a very high price of $50,000. These environmental laws are also prevalent in Canada, where it's common for endangered animals to find a home in lakes and ocean islands. In Ontario, you can only start construction if the island has more than an acre of suitable land. Therefore, it wouldn't be wise to snag a tiny island for the equivalent of your monthly salary, unless you want to camp out on top of the pricey environmental study that's conducted prior to construction. Then maybe you shouldn't be buying land in Ontario. numerous environmental protection laws will raise the cost of construction, specifically regulating how you plan to generate electricity, gather water, and access the island, as these play a major role in protecting the lakes and oceans. So take these things into consideration, since you also have to take into account the standard cost of constructing a home. But other than environmental concerns, there are additional logistics to consider as well. First off, it costs money to ship construction materials to the island. Along with the building materials, you'll also need to transport heavy construction machinery to the island, which calls for specific vessels. And after spending tens of thousands of dollars to have the goods delivered to your ocean store, you then need to have the best and most qualified plumbers, electricians, and contractors working on the island every day. Yeah, you're looking at some significant fees just to get your building crew on site. And if your island is hundreds of miles away from the closest town, as is the case with Little Ragged Island, then prepare your wallet for this insanely expensive fee. But there's more to the equation here. You need to actually construct a route to the island using your chosen mode of transportation. Well, you could always just build an airstrip to get to the island quicker, but most estimates place the cost of that at or over $1 million. However, a dock for boats and seaplane access, or even a helipad, are less expensive options. They can still cost you a hefty sum. So in other words, purchasing a developed island is far simpler than purchasing an underdeveloped one. Consider the Bahamas' Berry Island chain's Frozen Cay. The $17 million 40-acre island is easily reachable by boat and seaplane. It has pristine beaches, majestic forests, and a massive 4,145 square foot home with 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. It also comes with a manager's cottage that's 806 square feet in size, a staff residence that's 1,534 feet long, and a marina that can handle yachts up to 100 feet long. And of course, it comes with a heated swimming pool. Frozen Cay, however, raises another expense related to owning a private island, which is maintenance. If you can afford a private island, it's very likely that you have a pretty hectic work schedule and won't have much free time to spend lounging around, sipping margaritas and relaxing on it, which can run the risk of property damage and break-ins from squatters if you leave your home unattended. Therefore, keeping the island occupied and cared for is most definitely essential. Now, enough with the expenses related to owning a private island. Let's talk about the opportunity of generating some income when you're not occupying your home. Rentals on private islands are incredibly popular amongst wealthy people. For example, the minimum daily rental cost for islands like Choini Cay in the Bahamas is $14,000, and that only applies to double occupancy. Each additional guest costs $500 per day. Therefore, having just 4 additional guests would allow you to earn at least $16,000 a day, not including tip. Choini Cay would generate at least $5 million if it were rented out only as a double occupancy for every day of the year at the lowest rate. A great way to earn money after spending a ton. But aside from this, there are also several non-monetary benefits when owning a private island. These include waking up and going to your private beach, drinking wine on your private balcony, having your home away from home, being thousands of miles away from everyone, if you value your alone time, and enjoying the ocean view with the perfect sunset in place. Ah, your own personal piece of paradise. Doesn't get any sweeter than that. But even with all these perks and luxuries, is owning a private island worth all the expenses, time-consuming regulations, and costly shipping of building materials and amenities? Well, for us, we're still on the fence about this one, because we simply cannot deny the fact that it's pretty dope to lounge around on your own private island. We're curious, who would you invite first to your private island? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, so that you don't miss out when we release the next episode about the rich and powerful lifestyle. Thanks for spending some time with us today, and we'll see you in the next one.